No, I was a
Mr.
bigger
Tillman,
guy.
Mr. Tillman, did you
I
hear?
was overweight.
Mr. Tillman,
but I made
Mr.
it
Tillman, Mr. Tillman.
Okay.
Woo-hoo. You can't even engage in a conversation about what I want to talk about because you're so busy telling me what you want me to know about what you did.
She's the judge who gives rules on the law and life. She's intense with common sense. She's Judge Lynn Toller on Divorce Court, where real couples deal with real life. Jerome and Queenesha attended church together as children. After Jerome finished college, they reconnected and got married. However, Jerome believes he's made a big mistake and claims Queenesha isn't mature enough to be the wife he needs.
She wasn't taking care of business. She wasn't taking care of home for that whole year up until that point.
I think that he's too serious. He talks, but he's always upset and he's uptight about something.
Jerome wants to set Queenesha free. Today on Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toller presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Queenesha Tillman and Jerome Tillman, Mr. and Mrs. Tillman. You have been married for almost 5 years, but you've known each other for 15 years. You have a daughter together. You're here because, Mr. Tillman, you want to end the marriage. You'd like to see if you could save it. And you want me to take a look at what's going on and see if we cannot resolve something. If, in fact, we cannot do that, you do seek transitional support, and we will talk about that as the time comes. But before we do that, I'm going to start with Mr. Tillman and ask you to tell me about your relationship and why we're here in divorce court today.
We're here today because, pretty much what's happening in the marriage that we've been married, like he said, almost 5 years now, and there just hasn't been that growth in the marriage that needs to happen. She lacks maturity. She lacks commitment to the marriage, and that's really the main issue.
Okay. Now, and I think it's important that I point out at this juncture, however, that she's 23 and you're 30.
Right.
So she's young, and when she got married, you were what, 17?
18.
18 years old. So she was very young. So, Mr. Tillman, why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got together and where things broke down?
Right. We met, in the church. We were both, kind of raised in the church, and we were pretty much heavy in the church at the time. And so we didn't have a really, what most people might consider to be a courtship, where, you date the person for a few years, you all might, live together or whatnot in an apartment or whatnot. We didn't go through a lot of that because of,
the religious teachings.
Religious teachings, basically. So
no premarital sex, so you guys got married.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah. So we talked on the phone. We kind of courtshiped about 6 months. And from that process, we talked about what each other was expecting out the marriage. She talked about what she wanted. I talked about what I wanted. And at that point, everything was great. I was excited about being with her. I mean, my requirements weren't a whole lot. I don't think that I was expecting a whole lot.
What did you want?
Well, she was young, so basically most of our conversation was basically her cleaning the house and cooking. That's pretty much all I was,
You were looking for a 1950s traditional marriage.
If you will.
No, but that's what it is.
That's exactly what he was looking for.
If you will,
Do
but
you
at the time,
believe
like I said
that,
before,
looking back now, you might have married too young? Do you think that's what the problem is? Or that at least she was too young?
Yes, I think that was, well, myself too, I was 25 at the time. And for the most part, I've always had been in a relationship, and the one before I was in a long-term relationship, but, I never really had that extended single life, if you will.
Right. Let me talk to Ms. Tillman for a moment here. Why don't you tell me what you think the problem is in the relationship?
I think that he's too serious. He's always upset and he's uptight about something.
Don't give me a reason
So
to be
you
upset.
say he's dry and he's angry. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah,
he's dry and he's angry.
Yeah,
I'm
more
a
goofy.
spontaneous person, whatever.
No,
Okay.
he's uptight. He's
Well,
uptight.
Mr. Tillman, you said to me in your papers that you felt her parenting skills were lacking. Why don't you tell me what you mean by that?
Well, you know, getting pregnant and everything, that was all a surprise or a shock to both of us, because we, you know, when we were together for that whole year, you know, she didn't get pregnant for a whole year.
Right.
We were together for a whole year, and she didn't get pregnant. We weren't using protection or anything like that. And so, you know, pretty much kind of, you know, out the blue, unbeknown to both of us, we didn't plan it. She was pregnant, and so during that time, before up until. Well,
my question is how, you know, you weren't using protection and you were married and you were having sex continuously.
Right.
That's kind of what happens.
Right. I mean, obviously.
Thank you.
Right, and that's right. But what I'm saying is that, you know,
Your Honor.
her getting pregnant was a surprise amongst all the other problems. But what I'm also saying is that, you know, she wasn't taking care of business, she wasn't taking care of home for that whole year up until that point.
When divorce court continues, is Queenesha making insincere promises to step up her game as a wife?
Do you think she's lazy or do you think she's not well directed?
If you can talk it, then why can't you do it?
She talks it, but she doesn't do it.
Oh no, she talks a good game.
Is your spouse ready to walk out the door, but you want to try and save your marriage? Call toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or visit our website at divorcecourt.com or become a fan at facebook.com/divorcecourt.
Divorce Court is back with the case of Jerome Tillman, who is angry that his wife's housekeeping skills are lacking. But is Jerome's anger justified?
I think he might have a bit of a point. If he's handling the money, how come his mama gotta come over and help you clean the house? How come you can't do it?
No, it wasn't that.
When you say she wasn't taking care of home, what wasn't she doing?
Cooking and cleaning. That's all I'm saying. Like, I mean, there were situations where I worked, you know, an hour from where we lived initially. I used to get on the highway to drive an hour to go to work. I worked 9 hours, so I was basically spending about almost nearly 12 hours away from home. I would call her up maybe 3 or 4 hours before I was getting ready to come home and ask, you know, hey, what's going on? You know, what we gonna have for dinner tonight? Nothing was cooked, nothing was planned.
Ms. Tillman, were you handling your business at home?
No.
You got a guy out making money for you. He comes home, man needs a
Always
meal.
on the internet. That's what was the
true.
problem.
Your Honor, I was 18
TV.
and I was a senior in high school at the time. I wasn't fully mature, so I was freshly out of the house, and yeah, I wasn't doing my part at the time. I was 18. Now I'm 23. And
Are you doing your part
grown.
now?
Yes, I definitely do my part now.
It's not.
Oh, don't lie. I do my part now.
Every bit of organization that actually happens in the house comes from me. Ask me who set up the house.
Now, wait a minute. Do you think she's lazy or do you think she's not well directed? Those are two different things. So she could be both. I don't know.
Well,
but she may not know what to do. Some people just don't.
If you can talk it, then why can't you do it? That's my question. If you can talk it, why can't you do it?
She talks it, but she
Oh
don't
no,
do
she
it.
talks a good game.
Your Honor,
Real
he
good
holds
game.
on to things. He holds on to things, Your Honor, and this is he's talking about when we first got married. We've moved on, like we have grown to a
So my mom just didn't recently come and help you clean up the house, right? My mom didn't help you just recently come over and straight up the entire house.
That's because she offered. She asked me, did I
That
want?
wasn't an offer,
we
it
didn't
was a
need
need.
help. It was
a need.
No, it wasn't. It was not a need.
Hang on. Mrs. Tillman.
And she got tired. She said, I gotta go home. I'll come back and help you later,
Mrs.
child.
Tillman, you got an angry husband over here. Now hang on. And I'm not, and I think he might have a bit of a point. If he's handling the money, how come his mama gotta come over and help you clean the house? How come you can't do it?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. We work every day, and we just didn't have the time to sit there.
Do you
and
work
do that.
outside the home?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Now.
Oh, she has a job. Well, now wait a minute now. So you had just moved?
Yeah.
No, we hadn't just moved. We had probably been there about a month.
No, it wasn't.
About a month or two.
No, it wasn't, Your Honor. It was 2 weeks.
No, it wasn't.
And
No.
she's working full time.
Yeah,
And she just, let me tell you something, Mr. Tillman. You know, I was all crawled in your corner until I figured out what was really going on. It's a big job unpacking and cleaning and getting together in a new house. It's not a one-person gig.
It's not,
it really
and it's not. I don't spin it to be.
You can't blame her for that.
No, I don't spin it to be that. But what I'm saying is that it's like this. I initiate those things.
No, you don't.
Even cooking, she'll sit there, and if I just sit back and just don't say anything and just sit and wait,
she won't cook.
No, I cook, Your Honor. I cook. He don't have to do that anymore.
Do you cook on the regular, or do you only cook on request?
I cook much more. No, I cook a lot more than I did when we first got married. That stuff when we first
all.
got married.
But you got kids though, right?
Yeah, I have a daughter. She's 3.
But you got to cook every day.
Yeah.
3 times a day. They eat every day.
Right.
How idea of feeding her something cereal and yogurt in the morning.
When divorce court continues, Queenesha pours her heart out to Jerome.
You on me, and I'm very hurt by that because you don't take time and be sentimental with me. But I take time and be sentimental with you and ask you, how was your day? You know, into how your day was.
If you would like your case heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com and follow us on Twitter @divorcecourt. Divorce Court returns with the case of Jerome Tillman, who wants to divorce his wife because he claims he expects more from a mate. But should Jerome acknowledge some responsibility for having married Queenesha when she was only 18?
I mean, you married a kid, right? And she was a teenager, and she had to grow up through that. Are you angry that she didn't act like a 30-year-old from the get? Mrs. Tillman, let me ask you this. Do you think you've matured into what you need to do as a wife?
Yes.
No,
yes, I do.
No.
I have matured so much, Your Honor.
It's like this. Just recently.
One thing I will suggest to you, Mr. Tillman, is that if you want to have a wife that grows into becoming the woman that you need, you got to allow her to speak. Okay. You have to allow her an opportunity to not only express herself, but to feel comfortable and confident in herself. But Mrs. Tillman, I don't think you get heard at home a lot. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell him how you feel about your situation right now. Listen to her. Tell her.
I feel very, very hurt and abused because you don't just talk to me and be normal, like as in, baby, what's the matter? You know what I'm saying? Or how you know, baby, how you feel? You know, you just hop right into what I didn't do, and you on me, and I'm very hurt by that because you don't take time and be sentimental with me. But I take time and be sentimental with you and ask you, how was your day? You know, into how your day was. And I feel I'm young, and I don't want my years wasted away on that. You know, I don't want to be married to someone that don't want to love me every day. I want to be loved like normal people do, and I'm hurt over that because you don't do that.
Mr. Tillman, did you hear that?
Because of that, because you don't like that. You're still holding on to the past.
Now, hang on. Do you understand how that might be how she feels? I mean, you married a kid, right?
Yeah.
And she was a teenager, and she was still doing that, and she had to grow up through that. Are you angry that she didn't act like a 30-year-old from the get?
No.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Yes, you are, because you was in a relationship. I was not in a relationship. He was in a previous relationship for 7 years, Your Honor. He knew what that was all about. I hadn't had a relationship no more than 3 months. Yeah. Remind you, I'm a senior in high school. Right. Who do you know that's that age right now that's married? It's few. Right. It's few of us. Right.
When divorce court continues, did Queenesha ruin Jerome's attempt at being romantic?
We went back to the hotel room. And so I'm thinking that, you know, with us being in this new environment, us trying to work on it, that we're going to, you know, get intimate, get passionate and whatnot, and she ends up falling asleep.
Divorce court returns with the case of Queenesha Tillman, who wants to save her marriage even though her husband of 5 years wants to call it quits.
you had the one thing that could kind of honked you off, Mr. Tillman, is about a romantic night in a hotel. Do you want to tell me about that, and then we can move on to the end of the thing?
Right. One day we decided I wanted to, try to change it up a little bit, try to do something a little bit different. And so I was watching it. I don't know if I was watching TV or I heard on the radio or something like that, where they were saying that a lot of times, you don't have the intimacy in your marriage because, the problems at the house are following you. So when you go back to the house, you still have those problems. So I said, well, I decided myself, let's go to a hotel room and ask my parents to watch my daughter and whatnot. We went out, we had a night, and then, we went back to the hotel room. And so I'm thinking that, with us being in this new environment, us trying to work on it, that we're gonna, get intimate, get passionate and whatnot, and she ends up falling asleep.
Did you fall asleep on the man in the hotel room, Mr.
Yes,
Tillman?
I did. I know what you're talking about. Yes, I did, Your Honor. What happened was I was working, I was tired. He took me to the hotel. But, Your Honor, it's hard for me to want to stay hyped and be energized to be intimate when you have abusiveness, someone telling you you're stupid, someone always hard on you, and you're still trying to make them happy, you're trying to do what they want, and then you want me to be intimate with you, but you're not sentimental, you don't just get into the normal mode of things. It's hard for me to be intimate when you're like that.
So, you want to save this marriage?
I do, because I love him, but I do want to save the marriage.
Do you
because
feel
I want
like you got married too soon? Do you
I
feel
do.
trapped? I mean,
do.
what's going on?
I feel like I got married too soon. When I look back on it, I did, and I wasn't at the fullness of it. I didn't know what relationships was truly the depth of it, how to go about it.
Has she gotten better at all? I mean, from today and then when you went.
I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna sit here and do what you're doing, acting like everything is nice and cozy, like you saying, like you committed 180.
Has she gotten better? That's my question. It's a simple one.
Yeah,
she's improved.
She's done a little improvement, but
Mr. Tillman,
here's
here's what I'm gonna say to you. You're a rigid man. You're a scary guy. No, listen to me. You're not a bad guy. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm saying your personality, your characteristics are very strong, they're very structured, and they're a little intimidating. And I think you get an idea of what is right and what is wrong, and if she is not on what is right, you are on her like white on rice, and you are not, no. And you ride her, and you do it. She was a baby. You married an 18-year-old. You married a high schooler. You had to nurture her into being a woman, and it takes patience, and it takes kindness. You don't develop into a better person by being berated into it. You don't whoop somebody into being better. You lead people into being better. And I don't think you know how to do that. I think you're so incensed over the fact that she can't do what you think is right. You can't get past that and understand why she's not there, and that you committed to who she was, at what state she was in, and that you're man enough to take who she was and to lead her into what she needs to be. That's what it is. That's what true strength is. True strength is not the ability to keep pounding on somebody about their faults. That's not what it is.
I have faults too. And during the time when we got married.
Mr. Tillman. Mr. Tillman, did you hear?
I was overweight.
Mr. Tillman. Mr. Tillman. Mr. Tillman.
Okay.
Woo-hoo. Do you see what I'm saying about rigid? You can't even engage in a conversation about what I want to talk about because you're so busy telling me what you want me to know about what you did. Right. And that's how she feels. Can you imagine living in that? Can you imagine? I'm not going to give anybody any money on anything. I think you need to work on your marriage, and you have to get up off of all that hard. There will be no recovery in this matter. It is so ordered.
All rise. Parties may leave the courtroom.
Jerome says things have gotten better since they appeared before Judge Lynn. He says he and Queenesha have been communicating better and have become more intimate and loving because of the judge's advice. He also says they realize they need counseling and are seeking it to put their marriage on firmer footing.